Okay then, so a quick introduction then. So my name's Darren Palatino. I'm the Assistant Careers Advisor for the Royal Navy Shrewsbury. A bit of history about myself before I continue with the presentation, all right? So I served 6 years in the Army with the Royal Engineers. I did 7 months in Afghanistan as part of an IED search team, bomb disposal unit. Did 4 months in Iraq and then 6 months in Oman on a construction tour. In 2013, I then moved over to the Royal Navy. Since then, I've been a Royal Navy aircraft handler. Okay, so I will go through the Fleet Air Arm branch and what my job entails shortly. But basically, most of my Navy career has been land-based rather than ships. So I've been based in Yeovil, which is just south of Bristol, as part of the Royal Marines Commando Air Task Force. Okay, so we support the Royal Marines in that side. So that's been my sort of military career as a whole. I'll just get on with the presentation now. Okay, so so the organisation of the Royal Navy then. Okay, so this is our Royal Navy. I'll only be talking about the first 4 parts, so surface fleet, submarine service, fleet air arm, and the Royal Marines. Okay, so as an organisation, we do provide aid in humanitarian crisis, so things like hurricanes, tsunamis, disasters, and things like that. We also crack down on piracy, drug trafficking, and especially in areas of like Caribbean waters at the moment, we do get a lot of human trafficking, drug trafficking, weapons, and things like that coming across their waters. Okay, and we also provide career opportunities for people across a huge range of backgrounds, really, allowing them to travel the world and get a career, get paid, and really build a lifestyle, a military background lifestyle, really. So. It is a good way to go. Before I started in the military, I was in a punk band, you know, so I completely went from one end of one spectrum to the other side. And now I've got loads of qualifications, good career, and I'm in the recruiting side of it. So this presentation then will aim to give an idea of what life is like in the Navy and what your role could be and how that compares to the opportunities you may have at home, okay? Right, so the surface fleet then. So the surface fleet covers all of our ships that operate above water. That's things like our aircraft carriers, HMS Queen Elizabeth. So that was one that we launched in 2017. To give you an idea of the size of that, it's 920 feet long, which is about 3 football pitches. The deck is at 230 feet high and it's about 36 feet wide. And it weighs in about 65,000 tons, right? So it's a pretty big beast. And then more recent to that, we then had the HMS Prince of Wales. That's another aircraft carrier that we've just launched. That is roughly the same size as the QE as well. Okay, so there are 2 main aircraft carriers. Then we've also got our Type 45 destroyers, our 23 frigates. Then we've got our mine hunters, which is what the divers operate on for bomb disposal and underwater engineering. And then we have our survey boats. Okay, so as of October 2020, we do have 76 commissioned ships. Okay, so the Navy's still expanding on that as well. Okay, so I'll briefly touch on the submarine service then. So this isn't my background, so I won't be too long on this part, okay? But the 2 classes that we do have is the Trafalgar and the Astute class, and this also have the ballistic nuclear submarines. They usually deploy between 30 and 90 days at a time. These are our own nuclear deterrents for ships that are on the water, obviously on deployment, and also for our UK waters as well. All right. The submarines course and pay then. So your salary is dependent on your rank, but you do receive a £5,000 bonus on completion of the submarine course, and you also get £12 to £26 a day extra on top of your wages as well for being submarine qualified. So that's just additional pay on top of your existing salary. Okay, so the Fleet Air Arm then. So this is my my branch. Okay, the Fleet Air Arm covers all our aviation roles. So if you're looking to do the RAF, all MRAF roles are also in the Fleet Air Arm. Okay, so we have things like the F-35B, the jet. Then we have our Merlin rotary wing aircraft, so our helicopters, and we also have the Wildcat. Okay, so the Fleet Air Arm does operate from both land-based and ships, so both airfields and flight decks. The 2 main bases we've got in UK are obviously Yeovilton, so RNAS Yeovilton, which is just south of Bristol, and we also have RNAS Culdrose, which is in Cornwall. Okay, I'll go through the job roles later on this with these branches. Okay, Then we have the Royal Marines. So quickly touch on this then. So although there's no required qualifications to be a Royal Marine, you do need qualifications in order to be promoted, okay? So the way this works, you would sign up as a general duties Marine, and then you do 32-week intense course down in Livingston, and then you go to a unit for 2 years, okay? After 2 years, you'll then be asked to choose a specialisation, and that's where you then sort of branch off into a chosen role, okay? So there's over 30 specialisations to choose from as a Marine. This doesn't include officers. Okay, then, so our specializations then, so we've got our engineering branch, okay, that covers our weapons engineers. So they work on ships and submarines, doing the turrets on the ships and torpedo silos on the subs. We also have marine engineer, they're like the mechanics for all the ships and submarines as well. So they do like the engines, the gearboxes and all that sort of good stuff. If you're into logistics, we do have the catering side. So if you want to be a chef, you can go into the catering role. We also have supply chain, so that's from getting things from A to B on and off ships. They do a lot of what we call razzing or replenishment at sea, which is where 2 ships will pull up alongside each other while still moving, and they'll fire cables across between the ships in order to get things from one ship to another, okay? Then we have our medical roles, so we have our doctors, nurses, medical assistants, dentists and dental hygienists, okay? The qualifications required for each of them roles is it varies between each role, okay? So if you want to be a doctor, you have to have gone to university to become a qualified doctor before coming in, but medical assistants can come in with very few qualifications and they'll get trained up on that, all right? Then we have the Fleet Air Arm, okay? So the Fleet Air Arm, like I said, is my branch. That covers all our pilots, our air crew, so the people that operate in the back of the aircraft, doing all like winching, load lifting, doubling up as a door gunner as well in places like Iraq, Afghanistan, things like that. We have our aircraft engineers. So I know there are engineers, but they don't come under the engineering branch. They come under the Fleet Air Arm. So they're our mechanics for our helicopters and jets. We also have the air traffic control. So they operate all the towers that you see on a airfield. Okay, so they're communications between the aircraft. Then aircraft handler. So I'm an aircraft handler. My job is firefighting. And we guide all the aircraft on. So we're the ones with the sticks that you see, and we wave the aircraft on and off ships, and on the airfields, make sure they land safely, take off safely from obstruction. And if there's ever a emergency on deck, we're there then to offer firefighting assistance. Okay, so we're in communications with the air traffic control to make sure everything is controlled in a safe manner on that ship. Okay, then the next one down we have warfare. So you do have warfare specialist. That is a very broad sort of job role. It does cover like sonars, radars, and a load of other operating systems within computers. We have a Royal Navy Police. So if you want to join as a Royal Navy Police officer, that is part of the warfare branch. We also have PTI, so we call them gym bunnies. The ones that do our physical training instructor. Okay, so if you like working in the gym, that might be a job for you. Then we've got divers as well. So they're another one that come under the warfare branch. So their job is underwater bomb disposal, underwater engineering. They do a lot of search, like search diving for all sorts of stuff like bodies and even missing parts that have gone missing off ships. They check underneath the ship's hull for any mines that might have been attached. They go down and repair the rotor on the back of the ship as well if there's any netting that gets caught up in that. Okay, so there's a lot of jobs that the divers get up to. And then the last one, then we've got Royal Marines. So like I said earlier, we've got over 30 specializations. Just to name a few, we've got sniper, medic, mountain leader, light infantry, weapons specialist, armourer. Royal Marines also have their own PTIs, so their own physical training instructors and their own police as well. So more roles can be found on the Royal Navy website under the Royal Marines section. The Royal Marines, along with all other roles now, they are open to females as well as males as well. Okay, so we've had 2 female candidates try the Royal Marines course to try and become a Royal Marine, but they both haven't passed, obviously not up to the fitness standards. Now, with the Royal Navy side, you do get female and male fitness standards and age dependent as well. But with the Royal Marines, because it's job specific, they can't lower the fitness requirements in order for females to get in. The females have to match that fitness requirement. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind if you are looking to join the Royal Marines as a female. Okay, then, so how to apply then? So you'd first go to the Royal Navy website, and then you can find out if you're eligible. So that's going to talk about things like ask you a few basic medical questions. Have you got any criminal convictions? A few like very basic questions there to see if you're eligible for that, and also ask about your age to make sure you're not over the age requirement or too young to join at the moment. Okay, so it is 15 years and 9 months where you can make an application. At that point, then you make an application online. The application process is about 12 months, depending on what job you're going in for. So by the time you actually go into training, you're going to be 16 or over, really. So it can be quite a long process. So yeah, once you've gone onto the Royal Navy website, find out if you're eligible, you can then choose a role that you think is right for you. So like I said, there's about 126 different roles at the moment. And then once you find the role that you really like the idea of doing, you can then register your interest. Okay, so once you register your interest, that application will then come through to your local careers office. And then once you've got that, the careers office receives that application, then it will be a case of they will get in touch with you over phone to start going through the entire application process. So that's things like psychometric testing. It'll go through an interview, medical fitness test, and your date of entry into phase 1 training. So that's sort of the application process in a nutshell. Okay, so like I say, it can be a bit of a lengthy one. If you are looking to join and you're in your last year of school, that's the sort of time you want to be looking to make an application. So when your application is complete, you're then leaving school to go straight into the Navy. Okay, so you don't have to go to college and all that sort of stuff if you don't want to. Okay, then, so this is just an overview of the Royal Navy Royal Marines fitness test. All right, so as you can see down the left-hand column, you've got female, and on the right-hand side, you've got the male requirements. Okay, and then in the center, you've got your age gaps, your age categories. So I'll just leave that on the screen for a moment so you can read through that while I'm still talking, because at the bottom it talks about the Royal Navy diver, pre-joining fitness test standards. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. You have to do it in 10 minutes, 30 seconds. That is the second 1.5 miles. So you have a 1.5 miles to start with, so 2.4 kilometers. You have to do that in under 12 minutes. That's your warm up. And then straight away you go on to another 1.5 miles, which has to be done in under 10.5 minutes. Okay, then obviously you've got Royal Marine standards at the bottom. All 12 minutes, everyone has to do it in 12 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the first part. Okay, same as diver. You then get 1 minute recovery. Then you have to do the second one in 10.5 minutes again, max effort, best time possible. And that is your fitness requirements to get into the process. Once you've done that, you then go through the application process. When you get to your down in Lympstone or Horsey Island in Portsmouth for divers, the application, the fitness test then has pull-ups, dips, press-ups and sit-ups included in it as well in order to pass. So it is quite a physically demanding fitness requirement. Okay, so this as a whole, I'm coming up to about 13 minutes now. So that is a whole for my my presentation. Okay, I hope that's been all right, and I hope to see some applications coming in from this.